Are you ready to grow your income, but you don't know what steps to take to hire your first dietitian or staff member in your private practice properly? If you can relate and you're feeling a little overwhelmed about the hiring process, I'm going to break that down for you in today's video, step by step. First question I want to ask is, can you see yourself here? Do you see yourself in a position where you have a staff member, whether a contractor or an employee, and you're working with them, you're mentoring them, and you're managing them to support the growth of the business? If you can visualize that, and that feels like something that you are excited about, or you're open to the opportunity, then I want you to listen up to learn how and what that looks like. Firstly, you can't grow a business without help. So people are essential, whether they're contractors or employees. And there's a lot of talk out there about hiring contractors, and I just want to say, unless if your management skills are top-notch, you're going to need employees. There's a whole different mindset when it comes to hiring employees versus contractors. If you want a video about that, let me know, comment below, and I'll consider making a video to discuss more about why you need to hire employees to support the growth of your practice long-term to create a sustainable business. And remember, as the business owner, you have to upskill too, and management is a really big topic, and you're going to have to upskill your management skills no matter who you hire, but specifically if you're looking to have contractors, you're going to have a lot of lessons to learn. So the first question is, how do you decide to hire an employee? Well, it's based on a process, of course. Now, here at Dietitian Boss, as a part of our framework, we have a 12-step process I'm going to share with you on screen. Now, in this process, I'm going to list out the steps for you so that we can talk about them. The first step is to identify what tasks that you need help with. Now, this can require some type of an audit. Second step is determining the classification. This is a legal requirement. You're going to need to do your due diligence and check, is this person fall under an employee or a contractor based on what the government says based on where you live. Then you want to determine your budget and think about how much monies you have to allocate towards the staff member. Fourth step would be setting aside time in your calendar, because this will take time and energy and some patience, maybe more than you had intended. And then write a clear job description. I'm going to have another video about job description coming up. And then create your questionnaire. List your job on maybe Upwork, social media. You can always share with friends and family. And then review submissions and narrow down the top candidates. The 9th step would be to send a test project to your top 3 picks. Then the 10th step is interview your top 3 picks. And then the 11th step is make an offer, and then reflect on your process and improve. And keep in mind, I know this might sound like a lot of steps, but if you don't follow all these steps, you're going to end up with a headache. You could end up with legal issues, and you might also end up with spending a lot of money and energy on somebody who's not the right fit because you didn't take the time to do the process. Now, I can relate because the hiring process has been something slower for me to adopt. We're in a much better place now in the business, but it took a longer time for me to adopt the hiring process than it did for me to adopt sales and marketing tactics. So it's definitely been a challenge for me. Now we have a staff, we've got 8, we have employees and contractors, and I've learned a lot of lessons and I'm really grateful. But I did not follow these 12 steps initially, and it did cost me a lot of time and money. And so this is something that I feel strongly to help our clients with, because I know as dietitians, we don't have this management background. So whether you are hiring for a contractor or an employee, you're still going to need to take this process seriously and then take it step by step. So make sure that you are using this checklist when you are going about the hiring process, and that should give you a leg up on what you have to expect and what you're doing next when it comes to the interview process and getting the right candidate in the door. Now, keep in mind that one of your steps might not be working, and there might be some aspect that you need to fine tune in that checklist in your process, but you might not know if you don't do the last piece, which is evaluation. It could be that something just needs to be tightened up. And that's why having an entrepreneur mindset and taking time to reflect and review what step needs fine-tuning is just as important as actually executing the checklist. If you feel like you need support in executing this checklist, we do have a coaching program specifically for those of you that are hiring in your practice. We offer a mastermind and coaching. So please reach out to us here at Dietitian Boss. We've got a link below in the description box. If you are looking for support and you're serious about growing your practice, I want to invite you to reach out to our company to learn about what resources we have available, because we do have a couple different options for different price points, different learning styles for our clients. You know, our goal here at Dietitian Boss is to give every dietitian who wants to the opportunity and education that they need to start and grow a private practice. If you're wondering when should you hire an employee, specifically an employee, there's a couple indicators that can be signs that it's time. And the first one is if you're losing a lot of time by doing non-valuable tasks. I've created a maturity model as part of the Dietitian Boss framework. And in this 4 steps, these are 4 different levels. If you find yourself in the growth phase, more often than not, it's time to hire. I've never met somebody that's hired too soon in their business, including myself. You can even hire when you're in your launch phase, but you'll definitely need to look into hiring when you're growing in your company. Now, if you're not sure what stage you fall under, if you haven't yet launched your business and you're not making money regularly, if you're not making recurring profits, then you're in the launch phase. And if you are making recurring profits and you have been for a while and you're making at least $8,000, let's say for at least 3 months out of the last 2 quarters of the year, you might be in the growth phase. I do have an assessment for this, but right now we only have that assessment available for our clients. But reach out to me if you want to learn more about this model, because this is part of my framework. So if you're also noticing that customer service is suffering, that might be an opportunity for you to know that you need to hire sooner than later, because you want to make sure that you have a customer support person or you have someone trained in that role to help make sure your clients are happy. And if your staff is overworked, so let's say that you already have people helping, contractors or employees, but everyone's exhausted, then it might be a time for you to look at how you're structuring the business and make sure you're providing relief, because you don't want people to quit because you haven't created a management structure to support everybody and support the bottom line of the company. You do want to make sure that your business can afford to grow in size. And so this is a strategic decision where you need to check with your budget and look, have you allocated the monies to hire? It's a serious decision, especially if you're hiring an employee versus a contractor. So you need to sit down and think, is this the right time? Do I have the money allocated in the budget? What are my future goals in the business? And you can use some specific time for deep work to think about these ideas in your business. Now, if you're not sure how to make time to think about these types of things in your business, I'm going to link a video at the end about time management tactics that you can start employing, even if you just pick 1 or 2 that will help you execute on these ideas so that you can get one step closer to hiring the right fit to help you grow your business. Now, if you want to know what are some characteristics, specifically 5 characteristics of a good employee, I want to share some with you based on my experience of growing and scaling our company to over $1 million in annual revenues, and of course helping our clients grow their companies to 6 and even 7 figures. The first characteristic of a good employee is that they align with your why. So they really understand why your business is in business and why you're doing what you're doing and the purpose of your business. So if you stand for diversity, that needs to be something that your staff member also aligns with as much as you. So it's the same thing as your clients, right? You want to work and attract a client that aligns with how you're different from other people. And that's the same thing when it comes to staff members. So we hire both dietitians and non-dietitians, and our staff includes people that really believe in the mission, vision, and values here at Dietitian Boss. And it's important to us that our staff feels that way so that we're all on the same page. Another characteristic of a great employee is problem-solving abilities. You want somebody to be able, especially in an online business, you want somebody to be able to identify when a problem happens and at least come up with a solution or 2. So for example, let's say your tech fails, so an automation doesn't work, or you don't have an automation and someone needs to do a manual step with a part of a process. Let's say scheduling, for example. Let's say you don't have automatic scheduling or something happened and you need a staff member to look into manually scheduling, let's say a client and you, or a client and one of your coaches if you've got a group practice, and something goes wrong. Let's just say that there's an issue with the client, or the client wants something, or the client's upset, or something's happened. If you have a staff member that doesn't have the ability to problem solve at a basic level, you're constantly going to be having to manage them, and that's going to drain resources in the company. So it's important that you can test for somebody who has problem solving abilities. Now, the degree of their ability to solve problems is dependent on the role and dependent on the structure of your business. So that's a bigger topic, but you want someone to have the basic abilities in an online space and in general to show you that they can solve a problem by not coming to you with a problem, but by coming to you with at least one solution for the problem. If you do not hire someone that has the basic problem-solving skills, you're going to be bleeding resources and energy and probably frustration and stress. I've been there with trying to solve problems for yourself. And again, if you're growing a business, if you're working towards scaling, then you can't be the one to get in and solve all the problems. You want to hire people who are able to help you with that process. The third characteristic is dependable, and that's true for any staff member. You want someone to be there for you. You want someone to show up when they need to. You want someone who's not just going to take off when the business needs them. So you're looking for some level of dependability as well as, again, alignment with your values. That's a great formula is dependability, alignment with your values, and problem solving. There's a couple more though. and that would be professionalism. And this can depend, of course, on the brand, but professionalism in the sense that they align with your values. So if there's a certain way that you talk with your clients or certain respect, maybe you don't like cursing words, or maybe there's just a certain basic professional etiquette when it comes to ethics, you want to keep that in mind. And of course, it's going to depend on your business and your values and your brand, but you need to define that on your own. So for us, there are some really basic levels of professionalism that we expect our staff with each other and then our staff with our clients. And that does align. Again, it all goes back to our company values. Lastly, are they willing to learn? And this is so important because as a company who's growing, you're going to need to be able to learn and solve things. And so you're going to be able to learn new skills with automation. You're going to have to learn new platforms that might update or social media and things of that nature. So you're going to want to have people on your team that have a growth mindset. And again, the degree of the growth mindset might depend on you and your goals and your specific company, but you do want someone who has that level of openness. And of course, the characteristics are unique to your company. And I'm going to put on screen here some examples of values. I mentioned thinking about your values. It's important to make values-based decisions. So this is a list as a part of an exercise that we offer here at Dietitian Boss and one of our mastermind programs for our clients who are focusing on scaling their company, and they're setting up to scale, and they're in that phase where they're making more money and they're hiring and their staff, and they're making decisions based on what values align with them. So an exercise for you to think about would be, what values align with me? But it's not as simple as just choosing a value from a list. You have to live and breathe your values, and you have to incorporate your values in the decisions you make, the staff you hire, and the way that you present your company, and the way that your staff presents your company. So it is quite a process. So with that, I hope that you found this video was helpful, and I want you to check another video out here about hiring a dietitian in your practice. And if you want to learn more about social media, then I want you to check out this next video on screen, and we'll see you next time.